What's going on? Hey, how's it going, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Yeah, I know I missed another week, so sorry about that, guys, but I'm back. You know, I'm gonna try to post more regularly. It is a little difficult doing moto vlogs while being in the military, when I have to kind of go on TDYs and stuff like that. So you know, it may be like that, where I miss a few videos here and there, or maybe for a couple weeks, depending on how long the TDY ends up being. So yeah, so I ended up missing, I went for another like week-long TDY. It was like 4 days, and I'm back. So I just got back on Thursday. But anyways, let's get to the topic of this week's video, which is going to be, we're going to talk about military TA and kind of like getting your degree or your master's. I can speak more to my side, so applying and getting your master's while being active duty. So yeah, so military TA or tuition assistance is a great way for, you know, somebody that's active duty to essentially get your master's if you're an officer. I believe you can get your undergraduate if you're enlisted, where the military pays for a certain amount, and there's actually plenty of schools that'll actually match that military rate of whatever it is per credit hour that they're gonna pay for you. Currently I believe it is $250. So that's what's getting covered for me for my master's. But I guess the downside, almost not really a downside depending on what time you do it in your career, but you incur additional years of service when you use military TA. So for me, for a master's, which will take approximately 2 years, I incur an additional 2 years of service, which I believe is at the end of once I get my master's, basically. So the last day of my last class for my master's is when I will incur an additional 2 years. However, if you time it, and depending on when you get your master's or apply for it and start it, and when you finish, you might actually still be within your service commitment, which for me, my minimum is 6 years after training. So I will actually be basically finishing up that 2 years as I in my actual service commitment by the time I should be done with my master's. So it works out. I believe for undergrad it's different. You may incur a 4-year service commitment just because it takes longer, but don't quote me on that. I can find out for sure and let you guys know in a video next time, or in the comments if someone actually does have a question about it. So, but yeah, so like I said before, I'm getting my master's currently. It's going to be about 2 years. For anyone curious, I applied to American Military University. That's where I'm getting my master's from. I'm getting it in Homeland Security with a focus in cyber. Also, if you're active duty, you should contact like your representative, because some of your training, or if you've gone to like Air University for SOS and stuff like that, could actually transfer as credit. So I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask your rep about it. Worst comes to worst, they just say, oh, unfortunately nothing transfers. But in the best case scenario, you actually get some transfer credits, and then you don't have to worry about taking extra classes. You might have to take a little less than you thought you would. So I'm in the works of figuring that out right now. I contacted one of the reps for that stuff, and probably because it's the weekend, obviously it's going to take him some time, but hopefully next week I find out if any of my education stuff so far, or any of my training, essentially works as credit for certain classes. So hopefully it does, but we'll find out. So yeah, and like I said previously, there's plenty of schools that actually match military TA. American Military University is actually the one I'm going to matches as well, actually, which is super nice. And American Military University does this cool little thing where, you know, if you're active duty, reserve, guard, I think even if you're a spouse or dependent, they'll actually waive the cost of books and send you books covered through them. I believe they send you electronic copies, but if for whatever reason they don't have an electronic copy, they'll actually send you the hard copy for the class. So super nice, super convenient. So yeah, I mean, like, why not make use of that kind of thing, you know? Like, if they're gonna offer it to me, you might as well make use of it to the best of your ability, to the most of your ability. So that's what I'm doing. So just a little back info, but military TA is actually one of the few ways that you can get your college paid for. Once you use your TA once, I believe you can't use it again unless you're using it for a language skill that the military essentially like chooses for you. So they have a selection of languages that they deem is needed. If you decide to do another one of those, then they'll actually pay for that one as well. But if once you use all of it, or for one of your either undergrad or masters, usually it seems to be that's about it. Another way you can get your schooling paid for is using the what's it called, the post 9/11 GI Bill, or the Montgomery GI Bill, for those of you guys that have that one. However, I think what most people tend to do is save their post 9/11 for their kids in the future. But looking into that, you actually need to have been in for 6 years before you're even able to pass it to somebody. So for example, I'll have to be in for 6 years before I'm able to pass it to my wife. And then once you pass it, I believe you have to be in for another 4 years in order for it to like essentially stay with whoever you're passing it to. So that you do incur that like extra, you know, service commitment. But I mean, so it's a small trade-off. Obviously, if you don't serve that extra 4 years, you don't lose the post 9/11. It just goes back to you, and you're the only one that's able to use it. So that's just something to keep in mind. I think most people try to use military TA and then pass off their post 9/11 to a family member. Actually, you can pass it to your spouse, you can pass it to your kids. So I think that's what most people end up doing with that. So like, there's always that option as well. So the process of applying for TA is not too difficult, actually. It's actually pretty simple, and I believe depending on the school, the way they have them getting like your TA approval is set up differently. For AMU, once it's all done and signed by my flight commander or supervisor, it actually automatically gets sent to them. So it's super easy for my school. I don't know about other schools. I have a couple friends that are going to, I think, Liberty University and a couple other places. I'm not sure if they have to send it or if they have to tell like the education office to send it. But each school has like their own little process, but the beginning process of getting it started is all pretty much the same. So once you decide you're going to be going to get either, you know, your master's or your undergrad, one of the easiest things you can do is actually apply to the school first. And then once you get accepted into the program and such, you'll get your student ID issued to you. Once you have that student ID, then contact the education office at your respective base and set up essentially an appointment. They'll talk to you and they'll show you how to use like the Air Force virtual education site, so AFVEC. They'll teach you how to use that, what to look for. But once you've gotten all that school information approved, or once you go set up your appointment to go get that school information approved, and essentially like the military saying, hey, yeah, we'll fund, you know, we'll provide military TA for this school that you want to go to. That takes a couple days, but once that's done, what you want to do is register for your class, whether it be 1 or 2. They were saying people tend to take 1 to 2 classes. I don't know what it's going to be like, so I'm starting out with just 1 class and then I'm going to go from there. But you'll take 1 to 2 classes depending on how busy you are with whatever you're doing in the military. And then once you register for your class, you'll actually go back into that AFEC account that you created. And then you're going to go to one of the tabs and you're actually going to request funding, which will then go to your supervisor. And once your supervisor has it, the system will automatically shoot them an email. But you can always go and talk to them, let them know, hey, I submitted my TA, and then they need to go in and approve it. And once that's approved, I believe you have to let the education office know if depending on like your school's procedures for using military TA. But once they get that approval, I think it gets sent to your school, I believe, and then essentially that'll help cover whatever the costs for your classes are for your credits. Now you can go to any school you really want to. You can apply. Just keep in mind that not all of them do TA matching. You got to find that out for yourself. And if you go to one that doesn't TA match, that TA, the tuition assistance, will only cover $250 per credit hour, so, or credit unit, sorry. So basically you'll have to cover out of pocket whatever isn't covered by the tuition assistance. So it's really up to you if you want to go and pay for extra out of pocket to go to the school that you want, or if you just want to look for a school that has what you want. And yeah, so it just kind of depends what you're looking for. I wasn't really looking to pay out of pocket for anything, so American Military University was a great fit for me. So I mean, I'm not gonna complain with it, you know. And then essentially you just do that for each semester or quarter or however long your classes are, until you finish basically. And you know, per your school, you'll get a like course or academic plan that tells you what classes you need to take. They'll probably give you a recommendation on what class you should take each time around and stuff like that. So it's very useful. I don't see why people wouldn't make use of it. So that would probably be a dumb idea to not make use of something like that when it's when they're telling you that they're gonna cover it. So but yeah, so make full use of the opportunities that you get. Military TA is one of them, and there's plenty of other opportunities and things that are in the military that we can use to, you know, further improve ourselves, whether it be educationally, mentally, physically, you know, any of your relationships, stuff like that. There's a lot of programs. You just got to go out and find them, got to talk to people about them, and then that's how you learn about them, and you're able to make use of all these wonderful opportunities that we're actually afforded. Well, that's gonna be it for the video, guys. I hope you liked it. If you guys liked the video and the content, hit the like button. If you didn't like it, I mean, hit the like button and just leave a comment about what you guys want to see. So if you guys haven't subscribed, please subscribe so I can continue to grow the channel, and so that I can just do more things on the channel, whether it be bike builds eventually and things like that. Oh, and if you guys live out here, please give me some more recommendations. My wife and I are still looking for other places to explore, you know, just see more of Oklahoma. So we'd love some more recommendations. You know, we can only find so much online to do. Every place kind of gives you the standard, generic, same things over and over again. So if you're a local here and you know some local things to do or spots to hit up that you normally don't find online, please pass that to me, and I would love to go and take my wife to do those things. Also, if you guys ride out here and you're looking for someone to ride with, please let me know. Not just myself, but my brothers are also looking for people to ride with, because we just think it's more fun to, you know, ride as a group. But that's gonna be it, guys, and I'll see you next time.